Every ounce of muscle you gain should be making you stronger. I'm Faizad Kapadia, and this is the New Life Masterclass of Muscle. Raj, one thing that I forgot to mention was the grip. Okay, I mean our episodes are always extempore. We don't have a script, so sometimes certain things which are important get left behind, and then I don't leave them. We'll definitely come to it. I should have spoken about the grip earlier during the setup itself. So since we've skipped that, I'm going to bring up the grip again. Manoj, lie down. Okay, now there are two kinds of grips that you can have. One is the regular grip with the thumb around the bar.
Crushing the bar.
Right? You use the opposing thumb, correct? We can hold things because we've got a thumb. Unlike animals, we have a thumb which can go opposed to the fingers, which is why we can hold objects much better than animals, right? But think of a push-up. A bench press is nothing else but an inverted push-up, okay? If I'm going to lift my body weight using the same set of muscles that I use in my bench press, using the same joint actions, then I'll have to be prone. Right now I'm supine. Supine means tummy up.
Tummy up.
Prone means on my tummy, with the back up, right? Yeah. So if I'm prone and I do a push-up using the body weight, how do I do a push-up? Can I do it this way? Do I do it on my fist or do I do it on my palm? On my palm, correct? Most objects that we push, an anterior push also is from the palm, but not from the palm, but from the heel of the palm.
Heel of the palm.
Okay? The load is actually on the shaft of the bone. Every bone that we have, every long bone that we have, the humerus, your radius and ulna, all these are long bones. And the long bones have got heads or condyles at each ends, and there's a shaft. When the load is on the shaft, that's when you are in your strongest position as far as your skeletal system is concerned. Okay, there is no tension on the tendons and ligaments of your wrist. The whole load is on the shaft of the bone. I like using the false grip. That's called as a false grip, by the way. When you don't use your opposing thumb and the thumb is on the side of the fingers, it's a false grip.
So you're not gripping it, you're just shelving it.
Shelving it. But then the other fingers are going to be really tight against the bar. Keeping in mind everything that I've told you. No matter what, whether the bar is on my shoulder for the squat, no matter where the bar is, shrugs or whatever, I will hold it and I will crush the bar with as much power as I've got. Literally weld my hands to the bar. Okay, so that stays. Many people consider this grip to be dangerous, and yes, accidents have happened in competitive powerlifting as well, where a person has actually lifted the bar off and the bar has sort of slipped off from here. Now that's bound to happen if the weight is not properly on the shaft of the bone, okay? If the person places it here and then does not extend the wrist but keeps the wrist straight, obviously it's going to fall. Now extending the wrist is something that people are very worried about. If you hold the bar like this with the opposing thumb and then you allow the wrist to extend, that's what's going to create a lot of bloody force on my joint. Adverse force on my joint. Okay? If the weight is here, no problems at all. Okay? It's like this. This is not a problem. This is how I would support my body weight. This is definitely a problem. See where the weight is.
It comes here, pushing the wrist behind.
Right, exactly.
It's here.
So if you were to use a regular grip, which some people are completely uncomfortable with the false grip, I would not really force them to use the false grip. But if you use a regular grip, see to it that your fist is pointed towards the ceiling. Okay, and it doesn't fall back. And especially for a person who can't keep the wrist straight and keeps falling back, the false grip is any day better. Okay, we're going to be using the false grip here. The bar is going to be on the heel of your palm, right over the shaft of the bone. And I'm going to have this and the grip, the distance between the grips, between your hands, the grip. It has to be again slightly wider than shoulder width. Now slightly wider than shoulder width is a pretty vague term, correct? How do you know that the grip is proper? At the point where the bar connects with the torso, at that point I want to see the forearms perpendicular to the floor on both sides. If at the point where the bar is connecting with the chest, I see the forearms like this, the grip is too wide. Many people talk about various kinds of bench presses, the bodybuilding bench press and the powerlifting bench press and so on and so forth. Bench press is a bench press, simple. Okay, and whether you're a bodybuilder or a powerlifter, you should be using correct biomechanics to make that lift as easy as possible. And as I said, level of difficulty or load on the muscle should come by increasing poundage, not by making a movement difficult. And sometimes powerlifters, they decide to decrease range of motion because they feel that's an advantageous thing to do. So they hold an excessively wide grip. And the wider you go, the shorter the range of motion. But they don't realize, these people who use excessively wide grips, and there are people who've actually had world records with excessively wide grips. Doesn't mean that I will agree to them, doesn't matter if they've got world records, they will be capable of a lot more if they adjusted the grip to the right biomechanically correct grip width. So when they're excessively wide, yes, the range of motion does reduce, but along with the range of motion, there's a lot of power dissipation that occurs. A lot of loss of power generation that occurs.
Angle.
You're pushing at an angle, you're not pushing it away from the body. Think about pushing an object. You want to push an object like this, think about the power you can generate. Think about the power you can generate from here. So it needs to be a wide grip. A wide grip is defined as a grip that is wider than shoulder width. Narrow grip, many people consider to be narrower than shoulder width. No, the narrow grip is the shoulder width grip. And it is called as the narrow grip because it is narrower than the wide grip, which is wider than shoulder width. So about one palm outside your shoulders is the grip for most people. And as I said, once the bar connects with the torso, you will know it's the right grip if the forearms are perpendicular to the floor. I would like you all to notice that when I give him the grip and when Manoj takes the bar down to the chest, you will find the forearms perpendicular to the floor. Perfectly like two pillars right behind, like two pistons that can push the weight up. You will see the power, you will actually feel the power in this particular grip. He's used the false grip. He's activated his kinetic chain, the hip is up, chin is on chest. Okay, breathe. Up. See the forearms perpendicular to the floor. Up. Right beneath the bar. Up. And push. Okay. Now, when a muscle lengthens, it is called as the eccentric contraction under tension. So the bar is coming down, the muscle is lengthening. Full range of motion is said to be achieved when the bar connects with the chest. But at no point in time is the bar actually resting on your rib cage. The bar touches your chest but doesn't even depress your muscle. Okay? So the brakes have been put by the muscles. Eccentric control is all about when the bar is going in the direction of gravity, when the weight is traveling in the direction of gravity, the weight has to stop because of muscular force.
Muscular control.
Okay, so that's eccentric contraction for you. So the muscle lengthens and puts the brakes on the moment the bar is at your chest. But the bar has to make positive contact with the chest. Many people skim the chest and they go up. Just before they're going to make contact, they start reversing into concentric, fearing that if they go any lower, they won't be able to push. The muscle is at its most powerful when the bar is in contact with the chest. Always make positive contact. Train your CNS to fire into the concentric only after the body feels the bar connect with the chest. You do it from the very beginning, that's exactly how it will happen. And once the CNS is trained that way, if I tell you to reverse halfway, you will find that more difficult. The body won't fire into concentric. Okay, so always make a positive contact with your chest. Breathe in, expand the rib cage, keep the rib cage filled with air, bring the bar down, let the bar connect with the chest, and the moment the bar connects with the chest, reverse gears and push. This happens to be known as a pectoral exercise. How much do you bench press? How many inches is your chest? How many inches are your pectorals? Okay, even for development, which I said, bound to happen. If you lead a bodybuilding lifestyle, which includes a bodybuilding diet, it's bound to happen. Too much is made out of this stupid mind-muscle link or the mind-muscle connection. And I want to bring this up right now when we talk about the bench press, because there are many trainers again, whatever you call them, experts or whatever you call them, who love to, come here Manoj, let me show you. This is what they do and it's very irritating. Extreme, feel it here, feel it here, feel it here. This is what they keep on doing. You have the person literally trying to contract his chest and feel it here.
Feel the muscle.
That is extremely the wrong thing to do. Focus on the task at hand. The task at hand is the bar is on my chest. I need to throw it up.
Push. Yeah.
I need to get it off my chest at full extension. Your entire mind has to link with the task, not with the muscles at work. If your biomechanics are correct and your joint actions are correct, See, joint actions are completely related to muscles. What are we doing out here? This joint action is called as horizontal adduction. And horizontal adduction is basically in the horizontal plane, the arms are coming closer to each other, right? So that's horizontal adduction. This is done by the pectoral muscle. Now the pectoral muscle basically originates from the sternum, originates from the clavicle, and also some fibers originate from the external oblique.
Leading to the...
Okay, and they all converge into what we call as the bicipital groove, a particular point here on the humerus. So they're all like this. And their function is to pull the humerus up.
Upward.
Up, that's the function. Once this joint action is achieved, what is it going to be? If you don't have the mind muscle link, you think your quads are going to do this? Your glutes are going to do this? It has to be the pectoral. So once you're crystal clear about joint actions, about anatomy, about origins and insertions, that's when you start moving away from these pseudo principles of mind muscle link and all that. Link the mind to the task at hand.
Train the function of the muscle.
You are training the function of the muscle. I wouldn't even say train. I don't even want you to think about adduction. I just want you to think about the task. Push the bar away. And to push the bar away, the joint action has to be horizontal adduction. And there the chest has to come into play. I'll give you an example, like for instance, a similar movement as a bench press. Come here. A similar movement as a bench press is a punch. So I want to punch him. Okay? These kind of weird notions about connecting with the muscle and all always happen in a gym. Misunderstandings happen in a gym. When I'm punching him, I'm thinking about impact. I want to punch with force. I'm not thinking about feeling my pectoral while I'm punching. Correct or no?
That happens when you tell people to kick. Like, extend your knee, extend your leg.
Unfortunately, what happens is, here the end is lifting a weight. The byproduct is because of the labor of lifting weights, progressively heavier weights. The body is built if given the right raw materials. The end product is not tension on my muscles. That is not the end product. The end product is the task. The tension on the muscle is a byproduct of that. And the more and more load you put on the body will try and adapt to that load by becoming stronger. Cardiovascular exercise. Why do you think I've taken up upon myself to keep talking about weight training and resistance training? So much of misunderstanding. Does anybody run on the road thinking I've got to activate my calves and my hamstrings and my quads, and if I run this way, my glutes are going to look that way? No, they just run. So these bloody idiotic things don't come up in cardiovascular exercise. But in my domain, there are hajar things that come up about connecting with the chest, about connecting with this and connecting with that. So just like running is a task, similarly here the task is
lift,
an anterior push. And that's what you focus on. And don't worry, the pectorals will develop beautifully if given the right nutrition. Right. So that's the bench press for you. Any questions?